I've got to start today's video off with a quick shout out to Derek Harjes with Land Home Financial. Thank you for liking and sharing my posts on social media and also subscribing to my YouTube channel. You're the man. But today we're going to talk about scaling your real estate portfolio and using house hacking as a stepping stone. If you've ever been interested in real estate investing or having a real estate portfolio, house hacking, in my opinion, is the best way to do that. It can provide you income, it's a great source for cash flow, and you get really valuable experience by house hacking. But here are some of my favorite tips on how to scale your real estate portfolio or your house hacking portfolio. So tip number one, start small. When you're first starting out, it's important to not take on more than you can handle. Consider starting with a single family home, a townhome, or a duplex. When you're first starting out, do something that's manageable for you. If you've never done it before, if you've never been a landlord and you have no rental experience, starting out with 10 units might not be a good choice, unless you're able to take on something of that size. Starting with something small on your first house hack or your first investment property can be used as a stepping stone once you get that experience. And keep in mind, when you're house hacking, you're using owner-occupied financing, which anyways only allows you to purchase up to 4 units. Anything over 4 units or 5 units or more will be considered a commercial property. And we want that owner-occupied financing. Which leads me into tip number 2, take advantage of the owner-occupied financing. One of the biggest advantages, if not the biggest advantage to house hacking, is purchasing with owner-occupied financing, which have super low down payment requirements. You can purchase a home with an FHA loan, which requires 3.5% down. Conventional loans can also go down to 3%, but we typically see 5% as the minimum. Depends on your lender, so be sure to ask them for all of their different products. But the owner-occupied financing has lower down payment requirements. If you were to purchase as an investment property, you probably need 15% bare minimum. Also, with owner-occupied financing, you get your loan over 30 years at a fixed rate. Whereas with investment financing, you get your loan over 20 years with typically a higher rate than conventional financing. And this is because of 2008. Banks see these investment properties as a little bit more risky than as if you were buying this place and living in it. So they jack up the down payment requirement and they charge you a higher interest rate over a shorter loan term. So to summarize this up a little bit, owner-occupied financing have the best financing terms when it comes to purchasing a house hack property besides cash. Leading into tip number 3, maximizing your rental income. We touched on this in the last video, but this kind of goes hand in hand with owner-occupied financing. When you get that lower rate, the longer loan term, and the lower down payment requirement, your payment is going to be substantially lower than it would be if you purchased it as an investment property. So by buying the property and living in it, getting that owner-occupied financing will maximize your cash flow potential. And while you're living in that first property or that first house hack for that year, you can go in and add a ton of amenities, do updates, anything to increase the value of that house hack for potential renters down the road. Tip number 4, and arguably, in my opinion, the most important, is reinvesting those profits or that cash flow. Once you bought that first property and moved into that second one, or if you bought your second one and moved into that third, you're really going to start seeing some rental income. You can do whatever you want with it, but my pro tip is to take that cash flow and put it in a savings account so you can do this over and over and over. Say you bought your first property, you lived in it for a year, moved into the second one, and now your first one is already being rented. If you're making $500 a month in cash flow, let's just say, that's $6,000 a year. And you can use that FHA loan or conventional loan to go purchase your next property. When you do this, you're essentially buying assets, you're buying real estate for free, or your tenants are paying for your house hack properties, however you want to think about it. Tip number 5 is build your network. Networking is key when you are building a real estate portfolio or even when you're house hacking. Attend events, join online communities or Facebook communities, there's a ton of those out there, and build relationships with other investors that are doing this or have experience in this. And lastly, get a network of realtors that can help you out with this as well. As I've mentioned in previous videos, having a realtor on your side is going to be huge, especially a realtor with experience in this space, because they're going to be able to give you insights on how all of this stuff works and how it all gels together. And they're going to be able to help you with other opportunities down the road when you do decide to do that tip number 4 and repeat this process. So by starting small, taking advantage of owner-occupied financing and maximizing that rental income and that cash flow and building those relationships and repeating this process, reinvesting those those profits are going to be huge when it comes time to start scaling this stuff. So that about wraps this up. If you found value in this, please like, subscribe, share, comment, send it to your mom. I'd love to help as many people as I can with this kind of stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.